Hey guys, as promised, tonight I wanted to talk to you about the inevitability of an economic slowdown or recession, which I wrote about before Thanksgiving, and what that means to you as an employee. My name again is Jeremy Altman, President of Career Resource Consultants, solely there to help job seekers land great jobs on their own. And tonight I'm sorry that I'm coming a little late. I said that I'd be able to get this video out today. It looks like I'll get it out tomorrow morning. But initially I wanted to talk to you about the economic cycle, right? I mean, our economy is built on cycles. There's expansion, there's contraction, there's expansion, there's contraction. It can be due to fiscal policy, it can be due to monetary policy, it can be due to some external events. But whatever it is, it's pretty much inevitable. It's just a matter of when we are going to see this downturn, because we've had a historical upturn. So on the expansion side, right, it starts with optimism. It moves into revenue, which leads to build out, which leads to hiring, which leads to more revenue, more profitability. It'll also bring in competitors. It'll lead to build out through lending and through borrowing. And so during this 10-year period, we've seen historic borrowing because the rates have been so low at the corporate level. But all of that is good when we're in a good economy. Not if, but when the economy begins to turn backwards, you'll suddenly begin to see that revenue tighten up, that profitability lessen. And when you don't have the profitability, you're not able to pay off those loans, right? And so now there's tension in the air. You can feel it. You can cut it with a knife. Somehow they've got to, reduce their expenditures. They've got to become more efficient, and if they don't, they're going to be cutting you, the employee, and they have to. So the question is, do you put your head in the sand like an ostrich, or do you perceptively understand what's going on and prepare yourself for it? And that's what I'm here to talk to you about tonight. So to me, it's really a twofold plan of attack. First and foremost, do you want to, stay and weather the layoffs? And secondly, if you don't, have you prepared yourself for the inevitability of going back out on the job market? Because you should be looking to do that now. This stuff doesn't happen overnight, guys, right? I mean, it just doesn't happen that you come in one morning and, everything was fat and happy one day and suddenly everything is solid the next day. It takes time, and you've got to pay attention to that. First and foremost, look at turnover at the management level, at the top level. If there's turnover there, something's not going right. Just note it, right? Test and check the mood of the office and the company. When things are good, everyone's jovial, money is being spent. But when things start to lessen, to tighten up, you begin to see, more seriousness in the office, more focus in the office, and less happiness in the office. So you'll see that. Another thing is you'll absolutely be subject to more meetings. To me, meetings are the nemesis of productivity, but they have to be there. And in these meetings, they start going over policies and procedures, continuing to try and become more efficient and more productive with what they've got. But at the end of the day, if they don't, again, they're going to have to start cutting manpower. Look at compensation, scales. If suddenly the compensation scales have changed or your bonuses are being deferred, that's a problem. All of this stuff is really stuff that you should be able to know well before, those pink slips start to show up. So what can you do? You really want to begin to stand out more, right? To be more engaged, to be a team player, to align yourself with management and be engaged with management, right? Ask your boss, how are things, and be genuine about it. Because you'll oftentimes get genuineness back. Even if they can't tell you that things aren't going as well or things are dire, there's going to be body language that you should be able to, adhere to and understand. Volunteer to be on more committees. Be involved in more projects, lead those projects. And again, this is a twofold rationale. One is to be more visible and show yourself as a value add to the company so that when they do look to lay off, you can weather that layoff. But the second reason is, of course, if you don't weather that layoff, it adds to your resume. It builds your skill sets. It builds your accomplishments that you're able to put on to your resume and discuss in interviews. Be proactive, right? Get additional education during this time. Get additional certifications. Again, they're going to see this proactiveness that you're doing. So on the front of the company side, you might again be able to be seen as a valued asset that they need. But again, if you're not, guess what? You've continued to build out your skill set, your competencies, to be able to be much, much more marketable in the job market. Adhere to policy, right? If you seem to be taking long lunches, if you don't do your expense reports on time, it seems like layoffs seem random, but in fact, the little things matter. So understand that. Now the question is, do you want to, jump off of this sinking ship? Or are you looking to be a part of the solution to right the ship? And only you and your family can decide that. But understand, the loyalty is not to the employee anymore. The loyalty is to revenue and to profits. If it's a public company, it's also to investors and earnings per share. It's not going to be to you. Corporate, viewpoints can get very short-sighted when stress kicks in. And you need to understand that you need to be looking at this prior to the event of receiving a pink slip. So tomorrow I'm going to talk to you in greater length about what you can do to really be able to prepare yourself for the job market, even if you're still looking to weather the layoff. I hope this was helpful. I look forward to speaking with you tomorrow, and have a good evening. Take care.